Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be the patterns will repeat until you change. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So patterns, that's what life is all about. There were patterns when you were in grade school. There were patterns when you went home to a house. There were patterns when you were dating. There were patterns when you were at university. There were patterns when you were on the playground. And patterns are everything that makes this place called Earth what it is. And when you can identify what a pattern is, that's a very good skill to have. Not everybody can do that. One person that can, way before you could, was the narcissist, because they were watching you and they were watching everything that made you you. How you wore your clothes, how you walked, how you talked, how you entered a room, if you were on time, if you had a high level of empathy. They were watching everything, and they knew very early on, after talking to you or seeing you or being close with you, they knew what you would do because you were predictable. Now you may say, well, why? That's not a bad thing, is it? No, it's a great thing, except for when you're with the narcissist, because they know what buttons to press. They know what to do. They know how to make you late. They know how to make you stuck. They know how to keep you trapped, and so on and so on. You must remember that you weren't taught this in school. You didn't know what narcissism was. If you did, you would have been able to see the patterns ahead of time. Doesn't mean you would have stayed out of a narcissistic relationship. Most likely you wouldn't have. But with the narcissist that you're considering, yeah, you probably could have avoided them. Having said all those things, what is done is done. You're either out of the relationship or you're about to be out. Any way you cut it, you now see patterns in that relationship. You now know that you were a part of a toxic relationship, and it probably went like this, with a love bomb or euphoric stage when everything appeared to be puppies and rainbows and unicorns and butterflies, and it almost appeared to be too good to be true, because it was too good to be true. Then once that person got really close to you, you enter the devaluation stage. Now no longer are you getting all the cute emojis. Now you're not being treated properly. Now complete strangers are being treated better than you. And now your life has just been put on hold because now you were propping up a person who turned out to be toxic. Yes, the narcissist. Then as soon as the narcissist took whatever they wanted after a period of time, it could have been a day, a week, a month, a year, 30 years or more. Once they got whatever they wanted, or you figured it out, or you weren't giving them supply, or maybe your resources were too depleted, then that relationship ended. Usually these relationships end with a discard, not always. Sometimes the person, who perhaps is you, was strong enough to end it on your own terms. Any way you cut it, the damage was done. The healing must take place, because this is the relationship you will need to heal from. And seeing the patterns now, they become clearer and clearer the further you get away from the toxic person. Meaning now you can understand why they did this, why they didn't do that, why they said that, why they didn't say that, why they hung up on you, why they ghosted you, why they ruined your favorite restaurant, why they changed your hairstyle, why they didn't want to go to your family's house or extended family's house for a certain holiday or event or graduation. You're understanding so much more now because you're getting the wisdom and you're applying it to your real life experiences. And that is what will set you free. The healing path is not linear. It will take time. It will take a lot of time. In your time, you will heal if you utilize the tools that are provided for you with each and every video, and from all the amazing and insightful and intuitive comments from all over the planet. At one point, you were the new supply, as was I. We didn't even know what supply was. We thought supply was just putting gas in your car or buying more apples and oranges for the house, or fruit, whatever it was, or food. That's not what it is to the narcissist. To them, supply is attention. It's anything that matters to them. It makes them feel important. It's access that you provided for them. It's your money, it's your health, it's your relationships, it's your job, hobbies. It was everything that made you you. Which is why when you were in this relationship, you lost your identity to the toxic person. You became a shell of yourself. You became the unpaid helper. You became the walking apology, the indentured servant, and so many more hats you were wearing. to the detriment of yourself, to the betterment of that toxic person. And you couldn't see the patterns back then. You were beginning to see the light, most likely, after a certain period of time, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it. I myself took notes on my smartphone almost 8 years ago to this day, not knowing what kind of relationship I was in, but knowing something was off. And I was intuitive enough to take notes, and I still have those notes to this day. And they're time-stamped and dated. And I believe there are 10 or 11 things on that list mentioning how I was thinking, how I was being treated, and other things that I won't mention. But back then, even though I was smart enough and intuitive enough and strong enough to take notes on my phone, I still couldn't crack the code. I still couldn't figure it out. That meant there was way more toxicity that I had to go through. I was seeing the patterns, I was identifying things, but I could not put 2 and 2 together. And most likely that's what happened with you. I'm not saying that you took notes on your phone, but maybe you did. Maybe you took written notes. Maybe there were mental notes. I don't know what it was. But if you're one of us who actually were in the fog, in the trauma bond, caught up in it, not knowing where we were, but continuing to know something was off and yet documenting it, that's a good thing. Now, do you wish that you had the wisdom, or do you wish that you figured it out earlier? Of course you do. I believe we all do. But the truth is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, which means you were meant to figure it out when you did, as was I. Many people say that, oh, I wasted so much time on this planet, I wasted so much of my life, I gave my best years to the toxic person and more. You can think whatever you want, it's your life, you're entitled to think whatever you want to. My standpoint, my vantage point, and I've never thought otherwise, is that every minute I'm on the planet, I'm grateful. And yes, when I was in the relationship, was I grateful? No, I was being abused, but I was trapped. And looking back, would I change anything? No, I wouldn't. Would I want to go back there? Absolutely not. I have the wisdom. I now have boundaries. I've gone no contact and maintained it, and I always will. And I don't deal with or tolerate toxicity. However, there was no other way. I can't change the past. Now I know what I know what I experienced, and you do too. So you must remember, we can't change the past. The past happened. You must reflect upon it when you want to or when you need to. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but you can't stay stuck in the past. You can't predict the future. You need to live in the present moment, in the here and the now. And that's where that toxic person didn't want you. They wanted you stuck in the past, and they wanted to future fake you and keep you spun around on that hamster wheel of abuse. But eventually, you saw the patterns and you put 2 and 2 together, whether you were in the relationship and you figured it out, or most likely you were out. And when you did, then you saw different things. Example, the person you're considering, why did they not have many long-term friends? Well, now you know, because they blow up almost every relationship they ever enter. Question number 2, why did their own kids not want to talk to them? Well, probably because the kids wised up and they were raised by that toxic person you're considering, and they said, no, once I'm 17 or of legal age, I'm out of here. I want nothing to do with that person. I don't care if they gave me life or not, or if they helped procreate me, I'm out. Okay, those are 2 examples. A third one, why do you think this person you're considering would always be moving? Well, it's because they can't maintain or keep a job, because they're always creating havoc and chaos, and they believe they're better than the boss who was hiring them or telling them what to do at work. Why are they always on the go, go, go? Well, because they're always looking for what? That's right, they're always looking for supply. And why do they have multiple smartphones? Well, same answer, supply. Why did they always give you a little sprinkle or a little dose of the love bomb whenever they really wanted something? Well, I just answered it right there. Because they needed something. You must remember, the person you're considering, to them, relationships are transactions. And if they don't get the best end of the deal, they're going to feel slighted, and they're going to try to get retribution or payback, or get the best part of the next deal down the road. This person you're thinking about, they play a zero-sum game. They must win at all costs. You didn't know it now, but now you see the patterns, which is why when you're in the relationship, unbeknownst to you, you were most likely being painted in a good light. Once the discard happened, of course, you're being painted in a negative light. That's black-white mentality. It's black-white thinking. It's all good or all bad, or all bad or all good. With these people, there's no gray area. It's me, I, now. There is no we. There is no togetherness. There's no growth. There's no transparency. There's no purpose or direction. All there is is one person destroying another person's life, taking whatever they can and hiding in plain sight, while the other person, which was you, and I can assure you it was me, giving to a fault, possibly being a people pleaser, having a high level of empathy, being committed, and wanting to repair an irreparable relationship. You didn't know any of these things back then, but now, let's say the relationship's over for you, no matter who it is. Now you can look back and say, oh, that's what that was. That's why they did this. That's why they didn't do that. That's why they said that. That's why they were wearing those clothes. That's why they claimed that they were at work when they weren't. You will see so many different things, and I call them light bulb moments. You'll have so many light bulb moments post-relationship, and eventually you'll have a flurry of them, and it will open your eyes like you never even thought imaginable. And then over time, as you process those through journaling, through meditating, perhaps through seeing a therapist who knows what they're talking about, and healing childhood wounds and staying in that cocoon of boundaries and insulating and protecting yourself, eventually the light bulb moments will dissipate. Not all of them, because you'll still have them for the rest of your life, but not the large amount of light bulb moments you have in the beginning of the healing process, because you have so much to learn. You have a lot of catching up to do. You have a lot of wisdom to acquire. And this is a journey for one, by one, and to benefit one, and that one is you. You need to remember also, and I'll get ready to close the video, that the patterns, these continue to go around and around and around in a circle, in a loop, on that roller coaster of emotions with the narcissist. No matter who they're targeting, no matter who they're talking to, no matter who they're communicating with, whether it is a current source of supply, a recycled source, or their arch enemy. If you are communicating, or a person is communicating with a toxic person, that person is feeling your energy and they're taking it from you any way you cut it. And you may say to yourself, well, how is that true? That's not really true. Well, I'll give you an example right now. Let's say at work, let's say when you go to work, maybe your boss turned out to be toxic, whatever you want to call them, but you were dreading going into their office because you knew that they were going to make you wait. You knew that they were going to give you a hard time for your job. You knew that they were going to give you more work. You also knew that they were going to put off the pay raise. You also knew that you had to stay and work late that weekend. You also knew that they would say that other people were talking poorly about you in the company. That's why every time you went in that office, you knew it wasn't good. But what did you do? You had to stay there because you needed your job. And I had many jobs like that over the last 20 some years. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good experience. But then you see the patterns, and then you recognize it wasn't just you. That person you're considering, let's say the boss in that company, they had it out for many people. But you is who I care about. You need to understand this. That's why the patterns will repeat until you change. Now, what that means is you need to go no contact. You need to block that person. You need to delete them, remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If you can't do it now, I understand that. Do it in your own time. Remember, in time, in your time, you will heal. And remember, in time, you will rise through the ashes like a phoenix. Dust yourself off by the bootstraps, and you will reach the pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference. But to get to where you're going from where you are, it will take work. But you are the person that's going to have to change. The toxic people don't change. They don't want to change. They can't change. All they do is go through people however they possibly can. They crumble them up like sheets of paper, discard them, or throw them away in the freeway. Wash, rinse, repeat, or rinse, wash, repeat, whatever that expression is. That's why you need to change, because the toxic person won't. The only thing they will ever change is the mask that they're wearing for the audience that they are performing for. You need to get strong enough to put up boundaries, to maintain them, and to go no contact. You need to also understand that change comes from within, and that the person you're considering, they can't change anything about them other than the illusion. You are changing from within, and it will show, and it will be revealed to all people that you communicate with in the future, specifically as you are healing and once you've healed. Because people will see you and your behaviors and the way you use your words and your mannerisms. They will see you change, and they will be in disbelief. And I'm not referring to the toxic person you're talking about. I'm referring to people that you surrounded yourself with before the relationship, and certainly before the relationship ended. Those people, they may or may not change. Probably a lot of them won't change. And you may say, well, why would you say that? That's kind of rough on people that aren't even toxic. Change happens for a few reasons. One, because you need to change, or two, because you want to change. And if you don't want to, you're not going to. And if you don't need to, you're not going to. You have been in the cycle. You have to change. There's no other way about it. That's why I share, and I'll share it again today. That's why I've shared in over almost 5 years of videos. There are 3 versions of you. There's the version of you before you met the toxic person, the version of you who you were when you were in the relationship with the toxic person. They turned your world upside down. And the third version of you, the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. That's the healed version of you. And guess what happened? I just gave you the answer. You healed, or you are healing, which means you've changed. There are 3 versions: before, during, after. If you're in the after version, which means you've healed or you're healing, you know what I'm talking about. Drop comments below. But when you see the patterns and you recognize that nothing ever will improve until you change, that's enlightenment. That's growth. Now, when you're seeing patterns and you don't want to change, or you think you can change that person, that's what the narcissist wanted you thinking. The reality is, I'm going to say it again, change comes from within. It starts with you and it ends with you. The toxic person won't change, and they know it, but they wanted to keep you trapped, believing that they could change, they would change, future faking you the whole time and keeping you strung along until finally they took whatever they could and that relationship ended. That's why you must understand going forward, if you see patterns of anything that aren't good, specifically patterns of abuse that you endured before, you need to run for the hills. You need to get away from that person or those people as far and as fast as you possibly can, because those are the warning signs. Those are the red flags that you didn't pay attention to earlier in your life, but now you must pay attention to them, because now the onus is on you, because now you've changed and you have the ability and the clarity to see the patterns and to get away from them. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, the patterns will repeat until you change. I believe it was Einstein who said, what's the definition of insanity or something like that, which is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a change. There you go, right there. No, I'm not saying that any of us are that way. I'm saying that we have to change. And Einstein years ago knew that. I know that now. You probably have figured it out, or maybe you knew it before the video. The whole point is, you must remember, change comes from within. The toxic person won't change anything other than the illusion. You need to change, which is go no contact, heal, have a small footprint, and begin to create the abundant life that is just waiting for you. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.